Have you ever had someone or something so precious to you that you'd do anything to protect it? It could be your family, a lover, or even a dream that once gave your life meaning. And maybe you'd go as far as to sacrifice everything, even your own soul, if it meant keeping that one thing safe. You wouldn't care about being called a sinner or a monster, because to you, losing that one thing would be worse than losing the world itself. That's the story of Uchiha Obito, a man who tried to save what he loved, and in the process, lost himself. Before he became an enemy of the world, Obito was just a boy. Always late for missions, always smiling, always helping others. He wasn't a genius like Kakashi, but he had something else, a kind heart. He dreamed of being Hokage, not for power, but to protect people, to be seen, to be someone who mattered. But the ninja world doesn't care about pure hearts. It's a world that rewards strength, not kindness. And Obito never fit into that kind of world. Everything changed during that mission. When the rocks crushed him, Obito thought his story had ended. He gave his Sharingan to Kakashi, believing that was his final act. But when he returned to the world, he saw Rin die by the hands of the very friend he trusted. That moment didn't just break his heart. It erased who he was. The boy who dreamed of becoming Hokage died right there. What was left was a shadow of him. Madara found him, broken, lost, desperate. He told Obito that the world itself was a lie. That pain and suffering would never end unless he created a new world. For Obito, it made sense. If the real world only brings pain, then maybe a dream world is the answer. So he accepted Madara's plan. The infinite Tsukuyomi. A world where no one suffers. No war, no loss, no tears. It sounds peaceful. But it's not real peace. It's an escape. Because a world without pain is also a world without meaning. The thing is, what truly broke Obito wasn't just Rin's death. It was what came after. When the pain settled, and he realized that the world kept turning, that everyone else kept living as if nothing had happened, that's when something inside him snapped. From that moment on, Obito stopped asking, "Why did this happen?" and started asking, "What's the point of a world like this?" Have you ever lost something, or someone, that made life feel meaningless? For Obito, that moment became the core of his existence. He didn't just lose Rin. He lost the reason he had to wake up every day, to smile, to dream. When Madara found him, Obito was already hollow, a shell waiting to be filled with any purpose that could numb the pain. And to a boy drowning in despair, the infinite Tsukuyomi plan sounded like salvation. So Obito chose the only path that promised peace, even if it meant destroying everything in the way to get it. Philosophically, this is where his story becomes deeply human. What Obito faced was something called existential collapse. The moment when all meaning disappears, and life feels like a cruel joke that never ends. Existentialist thinkers like Albert Camus and Sartre said that life itself has no built-in meaning. We live, we suffer, and then, we die. It's up to us to create our own reason to keep going. But Obito couldn't do that anymore. He looked at the chaos and said, "If life is this cruel, maybe it's better to live in a dream." That was the start of his nihilism. The belief that nothing truly matters. And that the only peace worth having is one where pain no longer exists. It sounds logical when you're broken. Because when you lose everything, even illusions can look like hope. But then came Naruto. Someone who walked through the same darkness, but made a completely different choice. Naruto was also alone. He was hated, rejected, called a monster by the very village he wanted to protect. If anyone had the right to give up, it was him. But instead of rejecting the world, Naruto decided to embrace it. He turned his pain into strength. His loneliness into empathy. Where Obito said, "The world is too cruel," Naruto said, "Then I'll change it with my own hands." Where Obito created a dream to escape pain, Naruto faced the pain head-on and kept moving. That's what separates them. Not power. Not destiny. But choice. The choice to keep believing, even when nothing makes sense. And maybe that's the most human truth of all. We don't get to control what happens to us. But we do get to choose what it means. Obito and Naruto both lived through loneliness. But only one of them turned that loneliness into light. Obito wanted a perfect world without pain. But without pain, happiness means nothing. Without loss, love has no value. By trying to erase suffering, Obito erased what made life real. In the end, Naruto didn't defeat Obito with strength. He defeated him with understanding. Because he saw the same boy inside that mask. The boy who once wanted to protect others. Who once believed in dreams. And when Obito finally looked at Naruto, he wasn't seeing an enemy. He was seeing himself. The person he could have been if he hadn't given up. That's when everything came full circle. Obito realized that meaning doesn't come from creating a perfect world. It comes from choosing to live in an imperfect one. To care, even when it hurts. To love, even when it can be lost. After spending his whole life running from pain, he finally chose to face it. Not for himself, but for others. When he saved Naruto from Kaguya's attack, it wasn't just an act of redemption. It was the moment he remembered what it truly meant to care. The same boy who once failed to protect Rin finally protected someone again. This time, without hesitation, without fear, without regret. He once tried to create a fake world where no one had to die. But in the real world, he found something even stronger. The courage to die for someone else. That's the irony of Obito's life. He spent years searching for meaning in illusions. Only to find the meaning in reality. In pain, in love, and in sacrifice. The boy who once fell into darkness finally found his light again. Obito's story is a reminder that even the darkest hearts can remember how to love. That even when we lose everything, there's still a way to find ourselves again. Not by escaping reality, but by accepting it. Because in the end, life isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to be real. Full of pain, yes. But also full of connection, meaning, and the quiet beauty of trying again. Naruto showed us that the world is worth saving. And Obito showed us that it's never too late to return to the light. In the end, Obito found peace not through power, but through acceptance. After everything he had done, he chose to protect instead of destroy. To believe instead of doubt. In the faces of the friends he once hurt. And in the boy who reminded him of his younger self. He saw what he had lost. And what he could still become. He didn't need a perfect world to find meaning. He only needed the courage to face the real one. Because redemption isn't about undoing the past. It's about embracing it. And still choosing to love what remains. Maybe that's what Obito's journey truly teaches us. That no matter how far we fall, the light we once lost never disappears. It simply waits for the moment we decide to reach for it again.